Hi guys, I'm Rachel and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a very exciting video. I don't know how exciting this is actually going to be for most people, but I am a huge Hozier fan. Everything he does, I love everything he brings out. He has 3 albums currently and I am just obsessed. They're always on repeat, like no misses, not a single miss. I don't know how many of you guys, like I said, are going to be as excited about this as I am, but I know for a fact that on my Instagram I do have a lot of Hozier fans who are following me. I remember I went to one of his concerts when he was playing in Newcastle and I saw like 5 of my clients there. So I definitely do think that there is at least some crossover here. I am a very visual person and obviously I love to read as well, based on the fact that I have a booktube channel. You would probably think that. And for me, I've always created these sort of like music videos in my head, and I find this especially easy and like really gripping to do when I'm listening to music when they have like fantastic lyrics. And obviously Hozier has like some of the best lyrics going in terms of music, in my opinion. And yeah, I think his vibes, his atmosphere, just like what he creates, chef's kiss, and especially chef's kiss when related to a lot of the books that I read. And I think if you love Hozier's vibes, you are going to love some of these books that I have to share with you today. I have 3 books from each of these albums, and these aren't like the most played songs necessarily. These are just songs that are some of my personal favourites and just songs that I really think fit particular books super well. Obviously as well, with this being a YouTube video, I probably won't actually be able to insert any of the songs into it. So I'll probably just tell you what song it is and then give you some of the lyrics from it so you can get the vibes. Like I said, if you are here and you've clicked on this video, you will probably know what these songs are. You'll probably enjoy Hozier, so you'll probably be able to like play that in your head. But if not, go away, do some homework, listen to all these albums, come back here, and then you'll be a changed person. So we're going to start with his first album, which is Hozier self-titled. And like I said, I'm actually doing the special editions of everything because I actually really love his additional songs for the most part. So the first song that I'm going to have a recommendation for is Arsonist's Lullaby, which is one of my favorites from the first album. Like I said, I'm going to refrain from saying that every single one of these is my favorite and I'm obsessed with them because you just have to know that. You have to know that every single song I'm obsessed with on this list. But I find Arsonist's Lullaby, it's got quite a dark sort of ethereal undertone. There's a lot of sort of, it's almost like a low sung, like almost like hymn-like in many regards. And I think, like I said, it's very visceral, very raw, but quite like slow, but then it builds that sort of like intensity up as well. Some example lyrics from it are, "When I was a child, I heard voices. Some would sing and some would scream. You soon find that you have few choices. I learned the voices die with me." And then of course with it being Arsonist's Lullaby, you have a lot of fire visuals within this as well. So again, another lyric of my favourite is, "All you have is your fire and the place you need to reach. Don't you ever tame your demons, but always keep them on a leash." And for this, I feel like there is literally no other book to recommend for this other than The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I mean, the single sentence on the back here is, "And she would call the gods to do such terrible things." And does that feels like it could be from the exact same song I've just read. That feels like it could be like a lyric from the Hozier songs, in my opinion. In this, we are following Rin, and this is a Chinese-inspired fantasy story that is kind of based on the Sino-Japanese wars. It has extremely dark content, so definitely be aware of that when going into it. I absolutely loved this book though. We are following, like I said, Rin, who is a young girl who is extremely smart, and the only way she can get out of her poverty-ridden situation is to test extraordinarily highly on a exam that is kind of brought around all of the very like rural districts. And she does that and she enters effectively what is a magic school. And in this, the gods give you powers, and her power ends up being very fire related, and she has effectively like a fire demon speaking in her head. And again, if we're just going back to those lyrics that I put up before, like it's so exact for Arsonist's Lullaby. If you listen to Arsonist's Lullaby, and if you love the sort of like contemplative melodic pacing and the sort of like, you feel like it's almost like written from a villain's perspective, I think, in a lot of ways. And although Rin isn't necessarily a villain, she definitely does do some very questionable things. This is the definition of morally grey, I would say, in a story. She is very hell-bent on her ideals and her way forward, and if people don't align with that, she is not afraid to step on them effectively, and use her extraordinary gifts to, you know, get what she wants and to fight her cause and corner. It's an extremely fascinating read. I actually learned a lot about Chinese and Japanese history as well through this, and a lot of it's horrifying, so definitely would recommend, but please look up trigger warnings if you're going to pick this series up. But if you like Arsonist's Lullaby, I can pretty much guarantee that you will like this book. The next song that I'm going to recommend a book for you to to read from is In the Woods Somewhere, again from his first album, Hozier. And this is, if you love like a folkloric woodsy atmosphere, please listen to this song. It is incredible vibes. It's a very slow, melodically paced song that has, like I said, very sort of folky undertones, and it is extraordinarily atmospheric. It's very autumnal kind of vibes as well. And some of the lyrics from this song include, "His bone exposed, his hind was lame. I raised a stone to end his pain. What caused the wound? How large the teeth? I saw new eyes were watching me. The creature lunged, I turned and ran to save a life I didn't have." So yeah, from that you can kind of gather that we are, you know, in a very woodland setting. There is perhaps a unknown creature or beast stalking you through the trees, and yeah, it's very folky, very sort of like mysterious and kind of almost like horror-y vibes. And for this, and because of this, I would recommend to you Small Favours by Erin A. Craig. Now, this cover is gorgeous, but extremely deceptive for what it is. It's actually a YA horror, but I was chilled listening to this. I remember sitting reading this and having to like take a little moment and just like look around and feel a little bit like uneasy when reading this. And in this we follow a young girl who lives in a very isolated community in the middle of the woods, and one of her parents ends up getting injured and has to be taken very, very far out of town. They are like days and days travel away, like they would not be reached in any sort of ease, especially not when like the winter comes and the town gets even more isolated and the roads get shut off. She is left to take care of her father's farm and also his beekeeping sort of business that he has. It is very like cottagecore, but very dark cottagecore, because people in this town start going missing after reports of seeing some sort of creature or unknown element in the woodlands surrounding them, and there is constant fears of being watched. Some young children are starting to see things that aren't there and people that aren't there, and it is so unnerving, and it really brilliantly sort of like piles on the atmosphere and the tension, and the town starts slowly descending into a sort of mania and a sort of like delusion together, and it is really, really fascinating. It is so well constructed, and the ending will leave you feeling like absolutely gagged and gooped. Necessary if you're looking for a super satisfying rounded conclusion, that's not what you'll probably get from this, but it will be. But it is extraordinarily dramatic, and like I said, the sort of slow melodic tones of In the Woods Somewhere, based on the sort of setting of that song versus the setting of this, which is literally in the woods somewhere. You're not actually entirely sure where they are. It is extraordinarily good. And like I said, the fear of like creatures coming out of the woods to like grab you when you're least expecting it. Oh, it is so, so good. And if you like that song, I think you'll definitely like this book. The next song that I'm going to recommend for is Run. Also from this album. Again, it's from the special edition album. And this is once again very folky. I mean, almost all of his stuff is extremely folky, but for me, that's what I gravitate towards, because I love the sort of like whimsical, atmospheric folk tale vibes. Like you feel like you've been told a folk tale with this song specifically as well. And in this song, you are almost following a like folk love story between two, not necessarily creatures, but entities of a potentially slightly different world to ours. Like it's very whimsical, like I said, very atmospheric, but it is also quite dark, and there is like a sort of level of sacrifice in this love that is described in this song that I think is quite dark. So some of the lyrics that are included in here is, rare is this love, keep it covered. I need you to run to me, lover. Run until you feel your lungs bleeding. And some other lyrics also include, her hungry eyes, her ancient soul, it's carried by a sneering menagerie. Know what it is to grow beneath her sky, her punishing cold, and slowly learn of her ancient misery. Like, it mentions the Bogman in the song. Like, it is, if you haven't not listened to the song and you know and have listened to some of Hozier's other things, please listen to it. It is so good. I love it. And again, the way the pacing sort of builds in the song as well is excellent. If you love a romantic, folky, slightly horrifying story, I am going to recommend for this Slewfoot by Brom. This might be a bit of a rogue one for people who have read and heard both things, but hear me out. This is not a romance. It is very much a folk horror book, and in this you are following a girl who's effectively accused of witchcraft, and her town sort of drives her out, but she is in contact and in cahoots with, perhaps, a creature in the woods who may or may not have perhaps kind of evolved from, shall we say, her husband, who goes missing at the very, very start of this book. And it is basically, it's a story of female rage in a lot of ways. And it's also the story of the love that she perhaps develops with this creature in the woods, who is, let's just say, not 100% human and is perhaps a little demonic in in energy, but I absolutely adore this book. It is so good. You will be so frustrated and hate some of the townspeople so aggressively. Like, let me just show you some art because it comes with art in here too. Look at some of these. Look at some of these. I don't know whether you can see because of the shine, but look at that. Like, these are the kind of creatures we're following in here. It's so good. It's so good. Look, the witch. It's just exquisite. It's exquisite. It is so well written. It's so well crafted. If you love a folk horror, but again, with that dash of sort of very dark, romantic vibes and undertones in this, I would definitely recommend this. If you like Run, you will almost certainly like this, even though Run is definitely more like Irish folk vibes, and this is more sort of Puritan / Appalachian folk vibes. I still think there's a lot of crossover and a lot of shared themes between both the song and this book that you will enjoy. Now onto his second album, which is Wasteland Baby, and arguably my favourite of his albums. I feel like that's a little bit of a controversial opinion. I think a lot of people like his first and newest album the most, but I love Wasteland Baby. I will die on this hill. And the first song that I'm going to recommend a book from this is Would That I. I'm assuming most people will probably be aware of this song at this point because it is one of the songs that kind of got picked up by TikTok a lot. But I absolutely love this song. It has a lot of sort of like cottagecore and very whimsy vibes. It's a lot lighter than some of the previous songs that I was recommending. And yeah, I think this has definitely got a bit more mass appeal. And it's also very romantic, I think. It's so charming and so romantic and so whimsical. And some of the lyrics from it include: true that I saw her hair like a branch of a tree, a willow dancing on air before covering me, under cotton and calicos, over canopy dapple long ago. It's just so cute. Like, imagine describing someone like that. Like, I would die. I would die. I would die. It also has a lot of sort of fiery themes in there as well, especially like in terms of like the changing of times and renewal is a big theme in this song as well. So the lyrics sort of include: with the roar of the fire, my heart rose to its feet. Like the ashes of ash I saw rise in the heat, settle soft and as pure as snow. I fell in love with the fire long ago. It's very romantic and there's a lot of like yearning in it as well, I think. And for me, as well as obviously the folky vibes. And if you've ever heard it, I think it's very sort of, it's got, like I said, almost like a Celtic feeling to it, I think. And for me, I will recommend, in terms of books that you will like if you like the song, A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. The second book to this is called A Fire Endless. So in terms of the fiery themes as well, it's definitely there. It's definitely there. But this is such a whimsical, atmospheric book. Her other series, Divine Rivals, is more popular, I think, due to TikTok especially. But this is incredible. I so much preferred this over Divine Rivals. If you have read Divine Rivals and were a bit like, it's kind of okay, definitely try and pick up some of her other work because she is an incredible author and this was stunning. This follows a bard who used to live on this island and he left to sort of train in his profession, and he is returning to this island now, and this island is steeped in folklore and magic and whimsy, and half of the island has a feud with the other half of the island, in which one half of the island has access to magic, but their land is suffering and withering away, whereas the other half of the island does not have access to magic, but their land is growing and whole and their crops are flourishing, etc. And they, like I said, have a feud that has went on for many generations. The entire land itself is very sort of its own sort of magical presence. Like you will be walking across like these hills and these moorlands, and like the rolling hills will sort of roll towards you or away from you and can like trick you, and there's lots of pesky fae sort of creatures and elemental spirits on this island as well, including fire spirits and water spirits, etc. And these sort of elemental spirits kind of play into the gods and magic of this little island as well. It's very sort of secular, and this island is very closed off from the rest of the world. And it gives a sort of incredibly, slightly almost cozy atmosphere, but it does have some darker themes as well. And you are following a lot of different age ranges and characters too, because it is multi-POV. But the bard character does strike up a relationship, which could potentially turn into a romance with the current island's heir to the throne. Their relationship together is really lovely and really incredible, and again, because he's a bard, it's very lyrical and whimsy too, and I just absolutely love this. And if you love Would That I as a song, please read this book. I feel like you will listen to it and you will just know. You will know the vibes. You will know the vibes. And I really feel like this is actually one of my most like exacting recommendations. I do think if you like that song, you will almost certainly like this book. The next song that I'm going to recommend for is probably my favourite Hozier song of all time, and that is Nothing Fucks With My Baby. baby, or NFW, wait, NFWMB. I always just say it like the long way there. I was like, oh. But this is, again, a very dark melodic song. It's very much kind of giving like a sort of dark romance, almost revenge-like quality to it. Some of the lyrics include, if I was born as a blackthorn tree, I'd want to be held by you, felled by you, feel the pyre of your enemies. And like, oh my god, I love this song. I love this song so much. So if you love these sort of dark, romantic, I honestly feel quite like almost fantastical in a lot of the lyrics in this song as well. So if you like these vibes, and if you like a romance that is perhaps not healthy or necessarily even established at all, but is like the tension between the sort of characters there, where they will perhaps like die for each other, but they also maybe also want to kind of kill each other at the same time. I feel like that's the vibes I get from Nothing Fucks With My Baby, where it's like, no one else can touch you but me, but I will fuck you up, you know? That's the kind of vibes I get from Nothing Fucks With My Baby. And if you like that, this is, again, perhaps a bit of a rogue recommendation, but Red Sister by Mark Lawrence and the Book of the Ancestor series in general is an incredible read for this. So this is set in a very dark world. It is quite grimdark fantasy. Please don't judge this cover as well. I feel like people look at these covers and just immediately put off, but they are so good. And in this, we are following a school of assassin nuns, effectively, and it is incredible. It is kind of, it has similar vibes to like Nevernight, I think, but in my opinion, this was actually probably done better. You could probably also argue that Nevernight would be a good recommendation for Nothing Fucks With My Baby, but personally this and the main character's relationship with some of the other girls at this assassin convent is incredible. The world we're set in is very dark, like I said. It's actually got a very unique setting too, in that it is like a snowball Earth sort of situation where the entire world is frozen over apart from like a single strip sort of around the equator, and the ice is closing in on each side. So it is a very sort of tense time. There's a lot of war, as you can imagine, more people are being compressed into the same spaces, and this magic is extremely interesting, and it also takes almost like a bit of a speculative twist towards the end, and some of the girls end up on different sides of this conflict. However, there is this like tension that runs between them where you kind of get viewpoints and perspectives from the future, from like the end book in this one every so often, and you can see them coming to a head, but then you see their relationship develop as it goes on and how they will like die for each other. Like they're so close, and so you feel like they're almost inseparable, but they've ended up in these totally different places, and it's so good. It's so good. It's a little sapphic as well. We've got some sapphic representation in here. So yes, I think if you like Nothing Fucks With My Baby, you will like this book and this series. The third song that I'm going to recommend a book for from this album is As It Was. Again, as you can tell, I kind of gravitate towards the sort of more depressing songs. I feel like I said this when I went to see him on tour, but I feel like we need a Depressed Girls tour. Give me the Depressed Girls tour, please, where I just need the really slow-paced, dark, like, stare out your window, feeling forlorn kind of songs. But this is definitely one of those. And As It Was very much has themes of looking into the past and reflectiveness, as well as like mourning a time that perhaps was or has been, as well as kind of anguishing in what is going on now, if that makes sense. And it's also, like I said, quite whimsical, but still dark. And some of the lyrics include, and in a few days I will be there, love. Whatever here that's left of me is yours, just as it was. And some of the other lyrics include, and the lights were as bright as my baby, but your love was unmoved. And the sights were as stark as my baby, and the cold cut as sharp as my baby. And the lights were as dark as my baby, and half as beautiful too. And like, the kind of like love that, like the love that emphasizes that, but then the reflection, all of it very much feels like it's set in a future that is perhaps not the happiest for the singer of the song. And again, they are reflecting on a time that was, hence this song is called As It Was. And for me, I think themes of like sort of time and reflection and love enduring through this, for me, I would love to recommend to you The Sixth Death of the Saint by Alex E. Harrow. Now, I don't have this physically because I'm pretty sure actually it's only available as an audiobook currently, but it is one of the best short stories I have ever read in my entire life. It is not even like novella length. I think it is like 50, 60 pages long, and I have no idea how she was able to craft such heart and depth and love and emotion into this 50-page story. Like, it is like a full fantasy epic, but in 50 pages. It is absolutely insane. It is incredible. It, like I said, I can't really speak too much onto this because it is only 50 pages long, but we are following a knight, and it has, like I said, themes of time and themes of reflection, and she has someone who helps her through this time and reflection and this sort of repeating cycle that occurs in this book. And it is also part of their love story as well, and how they can endure through all of this sort of cyclicity that they enter in this. And oh, it's so good. It is so good. Like, oh, please, 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 please read this or listen to this if you can, because it is honestly, like I said, just one of the best short stories I've ever read in my entire life. It's only 50 pages. Please listen to it. If you like the song As It Was, I am pretty much guaranteeing that you will like this, because it is so melancholy as well. Like, it hurt me. Like, I almost cried, and it was 50 pages. It's 50 pages. I was like, oh! And As It Was is, if you listen to it, very full on and very dour. So yes, definitely give that a listen if you also like to listen to As It Was. Now, onto the final album, his most recent album, which is Unreal Unearth. I have 3 books again to recommend for 3 different songs for this, and the first of which was his first single from this album, and that is Eat Your Young, which again, I'm sure a lot of you will probably know this. It was quite big for a while. We have Hozier's typical sort of lusty vibes. It's definitely very deeply romantic, but in, again, very sort of toxic, sort of when you want to consume someone whole because you love them that much. Like, that is the vibes I get from this song. And in terms of a book recommendation for this, I would like to recommend to you Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. So this is a short horror novella, and it is actually also a sapphic romance as well. And I feel like I can't really speak to this without spoilers, but if you listen to the song of Eat Your Young and reflect on some of the lyrics, which I will actually, I've just realised I haven't read any lyrics to you from this, but so some of the lyrics to this include, I'm starving, darling, let me put my lips to something, let me wrap my teeth around the world. You can't buy this fineness, let me see the heat get to it, let me watch the dressing start to peel. Like I said, I can't specifically say too much about this because it is so short. We follow a girl who has kind of left her like corporate city life, and she wants to sort of retreat back and kind of take it at a slower pace. And she goes to this market and she meets this extraordinarily enticing other woman who is selling, like, it's like a craft market, you know what I mean? And she is selling lots of baked goods there, and she keeps coming back, and she's so enticed and allured by this woman who is selling these, like, I think it's cupcakes that she sells, and this woman also keeps starting to make her different cupcakes every day, and slowly they start to sort of like rotate around each other, and it becomes this very obsessive, sapphic sort of daydream, almost like quite whimsical fantasy story. But she, the lady who's making the cupcakes, is very unknown and maybe has some darker things to be hiding behind this very beautiful, gauzy film. And yeah, if you like Eat Your Young and sort of lusty but also very sort of sinister vibes that kind of flow through as a bit of an undertone to it, in that, like, you know, like I said, you want to consume someone whole, this is the vibe for you. This is the vibe for you. I think you will love this book. The next song that I want to recommend a book for is Empire Now, and I love this song. It goes crazy, and for me, there is only one book that can be recommended for this. So I feel like Empire Now actually has almost like a slightly westernish tone to it, or at least almost like a sort of fantasy cowboy vibe is the only way I can describe. It is a little bit more epic in scale than some of his other songs. Like, I think it's got like big crashing drums and quite like reverby sort of vibes in it as well. Some of the lyrics include, sun coming up on a dream come round, 100 years from the empire now. Sun coming up on a world that's easy now, 100 years from the empire now. And some other lyrics include, after all, darling, I wouldn't sell the world. The way that things are turning. If it falls, I would hold on for all it's worth. The future's so bright, it's burning. And the only book that you need to read if you like this song is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I mean, Empire is literally in the name of this one, so it feels like a very obvious choice, but oh my god, the vibes fit perfectly, I am telling you. I absolutely love this book and I love the series. And in this we start in a very sort of dark world and we follow a character called Vin. In this world, like I said, the villain has actually won and the world is shrouded in mist, it's shrouded in ashes, crops are failing. Like, it's really not a very nice place, it's very dire, and she is part of the sort of slave class of this world. She's discovered by another person called Kel, who is a mistborn, and a mistborn is someone who can ingest metals and use every single different metal that exists to harness different levels and types of magic. Most people can only harness one, if not any, but a mistborn is extremely rare, and they are someone who can utilize multiple, if not all, metals, and she discovers that she is one of them. And Kelsier recruits her to, I think I said Kel before, but he's actually called Kelsier. And Kelsier recruits her to basically come and try and overthrow an empire and create a brighter future for his people and her people as well. And it is so good. It is such a good series. It's a really good place to start with Brandon Sanderson as well. And like I said, if you like the sort of epic scope vibes of Empire Now, you will probably really like The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I think they have a lot of similar themes, and the sort of hope that is like lined throughout Empire Now is very much lined throughout Mistborn as well, even though there are some very dark and sad twists and turns that happen in this. But yes, I would definitely recommend reading this if you like Empire Now by Hozier. And the final song that I'm going to recommend you a book for in this is Die Selby Part 2. Now, Die Selby Part 2, it goes crazy! I love this song, and I feel like it's actually kind of underrated for the entire album. I feel like others were picked up and like were made much more mainstream rather than this, and it slaps, guys. My guys, it slaps. If you listen to Part 1 and Part 2 in conjunction, it definitely gives a sort of like folky vibe at the start, like where you kind of feel like you're wandering through the woods being led by like a will-o'-the-wisp or something, and then it just turns into this absolute banger and you're like, whoa, okay, the bass in it, goes crazy, goes absolutely insane. And in the song, I feel like it kind of alludes to sort of like a darkness within someone's heart, within someone's head. So some of the lyrics, for example, include, "And your heart, love, has such darkness, I feel it in the corners of the room." And there are aspects of the song as well where it almost feels like someone is talking to themselves, or perhaps there is a voice in their head speaking to them or through them, about them almost. And it's very, very interesting. I really love the song. And because of that element specifically, I'm going to recommend to you One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. So in this, we are in a world where magic is almost seen as like a disease, and you catch a sickness and then after that you develop magic, but magic is actually outlawed in this world. So pretty much everyone who has this sickness is killed. Our main character did catch this sickness, but her family sort of protected her and shrouded her because she has not actually shown any sort of signs of having a magic. But little do they or anyone know that she actually has a nightmare living in her head who is almost like a sort of slightly like demonic vibes presence that will like speak to her and is slowly gaining control of her mind. And like I said, that element of Die Selby Part 2 where it feels like there is like another dark sort of creature speaking back and forth between the singer and themselves is so perfectly reflected in this. And again, the crazy sort of quests that they go on to kind of liberate this world and also some of the other people within it. This almost has like a tarot card based magic system too, which is extremely interesting. I feel like really fits with Die Selby Part 2. So yes, I think if you like the sort of the loss of self-control sort of vibes and the sort of checking over your shoulder, hearing voices in your head kind of thing with Die Selby Part 2, you will definitely like this and really find the main character and the main sort of situation and setup of this book really, really interesting, and I highly recommend. But yes, that is pretty much everything I have for today. These are all the recommendations I have brought to you from his 3 albums. Like I said, I absolutely love Hozier. If you'd like to see more songs by Hozier recommended books for, because I can think of more. I could literally do every single one of his songs and recommend them. But if you'd like to see more like this, or you'd like to see a different artist, please comment below and let me know your ideas or thoughts, as I would love to know. And yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this as well. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with another video.